So this morning with Summit, we are working on a little bit of confidence building with the e-collar. So she's still pretty new with that, and basically what I want from her is for her to start really understanding what the collar is with minimal stress. So she's a dog who, especially in new environments, tends to get a little bit more nervous. Nothing major, but she just tends to lose confidence, get a little slow in behavior. So to prevent any issues with that in the future, we start really low and slow with the e-collar for dogs like her, just so that we can make sure that she really understands what turns the collar on, that her behavior turns the collar off, what it's asking of her before we even think about adding any sort of higher level on the collar that could potentially cause a little bit more stress. So all this is doing is teaching her a communication system rather than really using something super aversive to like push her into behavior or correct her for not following a cue. It's just her learning, just like you would with a leash, that it's offering guidance to help her find the right answer and earn the rewards that she's looking for, and offer us a way to continue that communication once the leash is out of the picture. Right now we have the leash on still, just so that we can help her out if she's struggling and give her a little bit more information that she already understands based on our previous work. And that way we can help her out if she's really stuck and doesn't really know what that feeling on her neck is asking her for. Because really, with most of our e-collar work, we're just looking to use that as a method of asking the dog to perform a behavior or to redirect a dog away from another behavior. So right now, I like using place for this, especially for dogs like her that when they get a little bit nervous, they maybe get a little bit clingy, because it is a behavior that sends the dog away from you. So rather than kind of having to wait until she's focused on something else or just doing really stationary behaviors like sit and down, which we'll also add as well, it allows us to kind of add some clarity into the training and really assess whether she's truly understanding or whether she's just kind of guessing because she's already right here and super focused. So with her, I'm going to kind of demonstrate a little bit. Basically right now, we are starting with the collar on a very low level. So I want it to be low enough that it's not causing stress, but high enough that I know she can feel it. So for her right now, that's a 5 out of 100. So I don't feel it on that level. She clearly does, but not at any degree that it is highly stressful for her. So basically all we're doing is sending her to this place bed and then releasing her back off of it. I like to think of it as kind of like don't touch the lava. So once I've given the cue of go to place, that's kind of phase 1, and that's where I will use the collar to basically push her onto the bed in the same way that I could use the leash. The leash to just guide her up there. It just adds a little bit of direction, saying, hey, I want you to move over here and position your body there. And then she's doing a good demonstration of part 2 of teaching really solid place work, which is once you're there, I want you to stay there until I release you. So we'll start with just going to place. So go. So command that we're using for this is place. You can choose whatever works for you. Some people do go to bed. I use board because we learned it on a big wooden board originally. But for her, we've been using place. So what I'm going to do is I'll have my e-collar ready. And with Summit, we've practiced this already without the e-collar. I've used food, just the leash as well. So now this is purely for the purpose of teaching her the e-collar. So I'm going to say place. If she doesn't move towards place right away, I'm going to start holding the button so it's on continuous, so it'll kind of have a continuous feeling of stimulation for her. And as soon as she shows intent to go onto place, that's when my finger comes off the button. So, Summit, are you ready? So I'll get her out of the gown first. All right, you ready, lady? Summit, place. Good. So now that she's kind of bypassing, this is where I'm holding the button. Come on. And then I release. Good girl. So as soon as I can see that she's really going to place, that's when I will take my finger off to kind of give her that clue of yes, that's the right answer. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to say go and give her permission to remove herself from there. She's not a crazy food motivated dog, at least not in this type of setup. So I'll reward her here and there, but it's not really the driving force for her right now to move her onto place. As she builds confidence, I think it probably will. But I'll demonstrate with another dog as well to kind of show what that looks like. So Summit, go. We'll do a couple more just like this. Okay. Holding the button. Release the button. Good girl. I'll give her a treat for that. Oh, we want one now. Good girl. Go. Yay. Are you ready? Place. Didn't touch the button that time because she showed a nice movement onto place. Summit. I'm trying to get her to not melt right off of place as well. So it really is that 4 boundaries. And if she moves off of it, then I'm going to either use the leash or the e-collar to guide her back into position. You ready? Go. Good job. Summit. Wait. Good. Very good. Go. Nice work. We'll do one more. Place. Hold the button, release the button. Good girl. Very good, and she adjusted herself that time. So she's not quite there just yet, but once she's getting really good at this, I'll start moving further away from the place and sending her away from me. Right now she needs a little bit more help and guidance to kind of build up her confidence with the position before we start adding any sort of distance. Go. Good girl. So then part 2 of this, which she's doing really well on, so place. Little stim there because she followed through really nicely. Sit. Good girl. So part 2 of this position is ensuring that the dog stays there until we give that go. So basically, she's really good at this right now. She tends to be fairly stationary in her position. She holds a down stay and a sit stay really nicely. But a lot of dogs will kind of start sneaking off of the bed if we don't teach them how to stay there, and that we're hoping that they stay there rather than just kind of tagging and popping off when they feel like it. So it's the same concept with that. So if she is about to sneak off of place, then all I'm going to do is use a little bit of that e-collar pressure, just like I did to send her there, and hold that until she's again showing intent to put her feet back on place. So this is where it's a lot like Don't Touch the Lava, where if a single paw comes off of the bed and touches the ground, that's what starts the stim rather than my command to go to place. So this is a little bit different conceptually, because instead of me turning on the stim because I've asked her to do something, mentally I like to think of it more as the dog is turning on the collar by choosing to take their feet off of place. And they'll learn that fairly quickly if you're very consistent. So that's where it's really important to always be ready when you're practicing this early on. She probably won't show us much of that right now, but I'll do it with another dog so you can kind of see. Because that's a very common problem, especially if you're working on this in the house and you need your dog to hold position while you're, say, vacuuming or trying to do some work, and you have a dog that likes to solicit attention while you're on the phone or on the computer. And so we'll kind of have a dog with a little bit more drive too, and show what we like as far as motivation for place as well, because she's still working on that kind of drive and excitement and confidence for it too. All right, you ready? Go. Good girl.